Jason, what's up?
Richard, how are you doing, man? Long time no see.
I'm doing well. I did you have the mustache
No,
back in the day?
no. In fact,
Always?
I had no facial hair. I think the pink, if I recall, yeah.
I might have
No, I
not
don't
had any
recall you
either.
having any facial hair. Yours is looking pretty dapper. Yeah.
Like
Well,
a
I mean,
speck.
well,
I
hence
think
we
I
were
had a
all
chin
20
strap.
years ago. I mean, 20 years ago, I think I hit
Really?
puberty. So that's what how have you been?
Well, I, I'm doing great. Thanks for joining me. I'm wicked excited. It's been a while. I think we might have talked once, or I might have even messaged you when I passed through Savannah when I was driving my sister to Tampa. And I think that was the last
I
time we
think you're right. I think
even
it was, and I think
talked.
I was trying to go back to our text thread, and it looks like we just talked about Lyoko wine. I think the last time. Lyoko, remember
What
that?
kind of one?
Yeah.
The Yoko,
So Matt
yes.
Licklider.
Funny, my feed has been like sommeliers and people smelling wine, and I didn't Google that. They like know what I'm
No, it is
thinking now. It's
interesting. I
kind
was
of
having a
creepy.
conversation with my girlfriend the other day, about this idea that I want to do in my business, and then like I just happened to go on Instagram and went into my like opened up my feed, and the first ad was exactly what we were just talking about, and it's like, man, now we have to like hide from our technology if we want to like, share an idea or come up with an idea because it's like monkeys on an island.
Yeah, it's probably even worse if you're in an LLM, if you're like on ChatGPT or something, because you're not just people aren't just searching for a local lawn mowing service. Like for me, I'll enter in all kinds of crazy stuff and try to figure out numbers and retirement and like all kind of personal stuff. And now I'm kind
Yeah.
of apprehensive, especially with a creative
I
idea,
mean,
because what if
yeah.
you're a developer?
I mean, I can't even imagine because half of my brain has actually, there's really not a lot of space, and I don't understand any of this tech world, but I understand, you know, um, the flow of energy and and what it is for like human engagements, and that's what I know, and that's why I picked the restaurant industry. And it's like I couldn't tell you how to, you know, build an app or what an app is supposed to do. And I use chat now, or yeah, I use chat for all these answers, and when I probably should be using Google, but I guess it's almost the same, maybe.
You should probably use chat because so you
I
fill me
do.
in. You own a restaurant now?
So since let's say since we ended our chapter at the Pink House, I went over to Garibaldi, GM there. And so in 2015, I found a building in the Starland district in Savannah, Georgia. For those who don't know who I am. Um, and it was an old dentist's office that was actually, its original concept was Atlantic Refinery gas station. So I bought a building that was at its first was a gas station, and then we did the whole historic preservation and all the lines and applied. And so in 2016, Atlantic opened, and that's what really kind of changed Starland. So if you recall where back in the day bakery was, do you remember that bakery? Yeah. See,
I can remember the
no,
Starland area.
it
It was
was, and
pretty
now
run
it's like
down,
the
right?
food mecca of Savannah.
Awesome. Were you one of the first people to kind of invest in
I
that
think I was the
area?
second dinner. But the first dinner location opened up a year before me in 2015, and I think they shut down in 2018. And I opened in 16, and then COVID took us out in 20. So after COVID, I decided to go into the wine brokering world because I did all my exploring of books and regions and producers when I was at Atlantic. So for 3 years, the Starland district was was a hot flame, and now it's like this burning fire.
That's a
Well,
good
no,
thing or a
it's like
bad
it's
thing,
on
burning
fire in the
fire?
sense that that's where everyone wants to be, which makes it
It's
challenging.
oh,
So,
cool.
um, you have downtown, the historic district, very tourist driven. Then we have uptown. So Starland has become our uptown, and it's where all the locals go, and that's what you want. But now we have like an influx of, we're almost at 20 plus restaurants in the Starland district. And so
Wow.
now
Am I wrong to say that it was kind
nothing,
of there was nothing
nothing there.
there?
There was back in the day bakery, and then there was Starland Cafe, and that was it. Yep. So everything south of,
Wow.
Starland goes as north as 37th, but we,
Which is I think I lived on
okay.
37th and
So
Abercorn.
my restaurant is on 40th and Abercorn. So I'm south of you.
Yeah, and I would go the opposite way from downtown, and I would like be like,
Mhm.
"This is a desert," and
Yep.
I would like never go over there because there was nothing to explore
Now
or
there's
no reason to
three
go over there.
bakeries, three coffee shops. Everyone's favorite bar in Savannah is down there, and everyone's second favorite bar is in Savannah. It's just grown, and there's more coming. A Japanese restaurant is there, and they're on their trick. They're going to be looking for, to do Michelin style food. And there's a fish specialty house. There's a fried chicken and oyster that he was a Michelin chef up in Chicago. So, I mean, the scope of Savannah is changing quickly.
At what point did you decide to say, "I'm going to open Atlantic"? Was it because you saw the property and you had a background in wine and GMing restaurants? What lit the fuel to be like, "All right, this
I
is
think,
happening"?
why did I open Atlantic? I think it was,
Were you sick of working for
no,
the man and you were like,
I
"I'm going to
think,
do it myself"?
that's one thing that,
Or the woman at the
yes,
old pink
sick
house?
of working for the woman. I couldn't deal with the piano player anymore. No, I'm just kidding. I think it was, I think when I saw what was, yeah,
Cancel culture.
no
Sorry,
one ever
didn't mean
does.
to.
I
Different
really
time.
saw an opportunity based on the style of service that I was accustomed to on the West Coast. Then what with at the current time, the current clientele, the current market, the lack of professionalism, the lack of care when it comes to hospitality, across the board on all different layers of restaurants in Savannah back in, I started thinking about this in 2014 and 15, while I was gladly working for somebody else and building what they needed us to build and being compensated. And, I don't mind. I really, yeah, probably the only guy that doesn't mind working 70 hours, but I'm tired now. I don't want to work that now. But back then, that was easy. And I saw an opportunity to create a style of service that Savannah had not seen before. So I was like, I feel like it's time to unleash this idea that I have. And
So to fill people in, we met because I moved to Georgia and I needed a job and I applied to 20 restaurants and the old pink house was the one that hired me.
like
You and who's Paula? Who's the older lady that had a
Paula
buffet
Dean
there?
down the street.
Paula Dean. I said, I'm considering working there or the old pink house. And you were like, the old pink house,
Yeah.
don't even consider working there. And I was like, super grateful.
Oh,
So
you're
thank you
welcome.
for giving me a job. But when you say an elevated service, is it different than what you taught me at the pink house as far as like wine and food or customer service? Could you elevate it more than that? Because I
It
thought it
was
was
pretty
pretty
crazy. I think
crazy.
we had very reasonable and um, very exciting and relevant, as well as classic standards of fine dining service at the Pink House. Even though a lot of people would probably challenge the word fine dining, but they do everything with the energy of fine dining. So regardless of how people feel, I think it still operates in that fashion, and they have the proof is in the pudding with their accolades. They still have staff that have been there for decades. It provides a lot of great income. People are still lining up outside the door, and they got a great product. And so the thing that I saw an opportunity was not just the style of service that we executed and taught and encouraged and held accountable for the staff at the Pink House, but it was the overall culture of like how the business, what was the heartbeat of the business, from the back of the house to the front of the house, and what are we doing and how are we going to do it? And so, the service styles in the West Coast and the service styles in the Southeast are two completely different. I grew up in fine dining in Carmel and Monterey, and we were this like very meticulous, very kind of suave or like quiet, elevated service where you don't really engage with the guest as much. Everything is like always perfect and like, oh, when did they refill my water? Or like, where did I thought I needed a fork, but it's here. Like, you just never saw us in there. And then I moved to the Southeast, and it's like trying to fit in an area that I was unfamiliar with, but I bought a house here, so I got to understand who they are first. And it was all about talking and building relationships. And at the same time, I was also at the very beginning of a journey of a sommelier or becoming a sommelier or becoming you know, a, I don't want to say a better or more dynamic, but just growing in that world. And then I realized that it's the power relationships are the reason why great restaurants thrive and drive great cultures. So, and Savannah had not seen that. I feel like there was a lot of good, like, oh, Southern cuisine or Italian, or it was more or less kind of filling the niche of what wasn't there or what people like. Majority of people here been to Italy, so you have an Italian restaurant, so you have this idea like, oh, I'm gonna do Italian, and then it's like, oh, so I wanted to kind of create a place that it was like this community like collection of just like great energy of your guests and your staff and like who you're buying from and why are you buying. So the style of wines that we bought, the ethos matched the style of food that we bought. And it was like, and it's not a farm to table because all food comes from a farm, but it was just like this new breath of styles of atmosphere versus service. And that's what we did in Atlantic. And it was it was a wild ride.
I love that. It's like you're telling the story through your ethos of it. You sit down and there's a story happening, and your waiter comes over and there's a story there, and every step is thought about and cared for, and there's a conversation back and forth about what's going on. That's cool. I wish I could have
Well,
dined there.
I mean, if you come to Savannah now or soon, I took over operations of a wine bar about 2.5 years ago, and I changed the direction from a wine bar to a restaurant because even though I'm a sommelier, I don't really know the bones or a wine bar, what it can do, what it can't do, but I know what a restaurant can do. So I converted the concept into a restaurant. So I own this restaurant called Sobremesa. It's also, like I said, 40th and Abercorn. There's a lot of people in Savannah who remember Atlantic, so we got that kind of like little crowd going on. But it didn't have a kitchen. It wasn't a full bar. It was literally sliced meats, cheese, and desserts. I bought the operation and I became partners with the owner of the business itself, but I took over full reins, and it's like Atlantic point two because Atlantic had probably about 40 staff members. So I was used to big staff at the Pink House. I remember, there was a lot of staff there. So my staff at Sobre Mesa, front of the house and back of the house is 6 or 7. So it's the smallest operation I've ever had my hands on. And I'm having a lot of fun. So you should come back.
There was a French bistro I really enjoyed in Savannah, and I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, there was only like 10 tables in there, and they were mostly like 2, 3, 4 tops. And there might have been a little
Was that
bar
down the street
area
from you?
too. I don't remember. I just remember like they'd have a couple specials, a couple bottles of wine. You get a really delicious meat and cheese board, or just a cheese board to start, and the menu
Yeah.
was very
I
small.
remember there was Cafe 37th, and that was right down the street from you, and he had a small little operation, and um, yeah, and so,
That could
but
be it.
the scene, or the restaurant scene in Savannah has just exploded. I mean, there's parts of it that will remind you of Nashville. There's parts of it that will remind you of like we're becoming like a little bit more polished in our shopping and our streets. So it's like hints of Charleston. So, I mean, Savannah's just growing immensely.
Are people just traveling there, or did a lot of people move there and
I,
like it just
I think
growing
I
north
think it's
or going
both. I think
growing
there's
west,
so
not
yeah,
north?
heading out to Pooler, you're starting to see like in Pooler, you're starting to see mom and pop restaurants open up in amongst the concrete jungle of all these corporations. Um, so you know, you an expansion of West Bay Street, so past the Talmadge Bridge. If you remember where the Talmadge Bridge was, I would call it Little Mexico, and that's building out now. So I mean, it is like new suburb, new area. Waters Avenue, Waters Avenue has a restaurant on it now. Paulson Avenue, Paulson and Atlantic or Anderson, that has a restaurant on it now. And these, for people who don't know, these have all been established neighborhoods, or more or less neighborhoods that weren't healthily established. A lot of holes, a lot of gaps, a lot of like troubled areas that didn't have street lights on it, you know, just kind of things in the dark. But now everything's lit.
What year did you navigate from the west to
Well, I
Savannah?
haven't navigated to west of Savannah, but I'm always looking at property because even to this day, uh,
Oh,
oh,
sorry, I meant from California, moved to.
so I came out here in 2006. So I came out here to visit my parents who are living in the Skidaway Island area, like the landings in that area. And I was in Carmel and Monterey, California. I was under contract for a house in Seaside, California, less than 1,000 square feet. I think it was over 725,000. Didn't have a driveway. I could see Monterey Bay, and I was like, oh my God, this is great. And then drove out here, or came out here on holiday, and I saw the price of real estate in Savannah, and I was like, oh my gosh, I could buy a Victorian on 37th Street for like 146,000. And you know, I'm very happy and lucky that I did, because where I bought, all those new buyers, they were part of the housing market bubble that burst. And so a lot of Monterey was affected and a lot of Savannah wasn't. And so I was very fortunate to make a leap, to drive from the West Coast to the Southeast to an area I didn't know, purchase properties, and then the nation go through some horrific, you know, housing market crash, and come out unscathed when it comes real estate wise.
Yeah, I remember your house, like beautiful. Like
Yeah, I think
just I guess I could fill everyone
yeah,
in. We
we
had a
did.
great time in Savannah. Uh you know, we would like be very classy and have like a nice assembly of wines after our shift, and we could go to the you could drink outside in Savannah, so it was open container. So we would be doing wine tastings in the different squares. You know, people would go back to other people's houses and have a nice little party. A fond memory I have is you had a like a projector, and you had a I think it was a Greek couple's full like life in the Rolodex, and we would just scroll through that Rolodex and project their whole life
Yeah, I
while
do
like
remember. That's so
drinking
funny you said that.
champagne and
That's exactly right. So that house was on 37th Street. I do remember that. I think it was a greenhouse. It was my second one. And I remember that. I remember projecting, and I bought that projector and those slides in Carmel Valley at an estate sale, and I still have all that. And every once in a while I was like, "Oh my God, I should blow these up and like have a gallery, have it in a gallery, because it's images from and they were all over. They were Greek, Rome, Spain, Panama. And those are like fun, engaging like things. I didn't really know Savannah culture, and I was still, you know, I was still trying to get to know everyone. And I think Savannah at that time, it was trying to figure itself out. And then you have this influx of like big business, like the ports and Gulfstream. Then you had like SCAD, and then you had this growth of like, like how could this real estate be this cheap? So you had everything was like moving in this like this weird like growing phase that it's such a random, and there was no rules of that you do this. So you just always had fun. I just remember at that time, Savannah, every aspect of everything that anyone was doing was fun. And so I do remember those. Those are some good late nights.
This is just tea. This isn't a Barolo, or I was on my way home. I was like, man, I should have stopped and got like a wicked fancy bottle of wine and been like chocolate anise with a little bit of rubber.
That would have
Did you ever? Did you ever get to see? I only had it for like a couple months. Decanted drive-through.
no.
It was my I had an Instagram called Decanted Drive-Through where I did a fast food, a fine wine, and a celebrity. So I like would go chicken fries from BK with like Viv Clicquot rosé, and then Ellen DeGeneres, and I would just Photoshop Ellen and me drinking the rosé with the chicken
Oh my God.
fries.
I would love to
And
see some of those. That's a great idea. So have you always been in this podcast and studio format? This, well, not always, but how long have you been doing this?
since August, so you're my 12th,
Okay.
13th guest here. I do. It was more spread out because I was doing in-person stuff, and then I started doing weeklies. Once I got a couple like scheduled out, every Monday I drop a new episode. So I try to do one a week, and if I miss one, I have like two scheduled out in
Okay.
advance. It filled the need for me because I wanted to get more comfortable on camera. I'm in marketing, so I've been behind the camera a lot. And I was like, I got to do something on camera and get creative. And I was like, okay. I was looking at an old yearbook, and I was like, what happened to this person? What happened to this person? Couldn't find him on Facebook. And I was like, I know. I can start a podcast and try to find people that I lost contact with and do that until it runs out.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, because I
Thanks.
like the idea of, well, sometimes we're so overwhelmed with a lot of things. We just are just noise in our current state of mind. And so sometimes it's nice to go behind a closed door and just like watch an old movie from the 80s, listen to old music from the 70s, and you realize like, oh my God, this is like when things were like pure or great or fun. But what it is to kind of like make effort to go back. And I think there's a lot to be said about that because I think you can learn a lot more. How many kids do you have?
I
I
love
do too.
nostalgia. I
I do
love
too.
nostalgia.
I love it. In fact, a lot of when I'm smelling things, smelling wines, a lot of times, or tasting wines in the past, I log everything in my brain. And I always tie certain scents to like the feelings I'm having with certain people, location. And that's how I remember how a lot of wines are broken down or like flavor profiles, but it's always with great memories of my past. So
2008 Pinot Noir. The fires were hitting the West Coast, and those grapes kind of had an essence of the burnt taste. That's a flavor I remember. I don't remember the name of the
it
wine.
was Bohan Dylan. They had the
Bohan
sketching on
Dylan.
it and a little cat on the cover because Bohan is the name of the road that the winery's on, and Dylan was the name of the cat. So, and they still make that wine. But I remember we bought a lot of that wine because it had a great story to it.
Easy to sell a wine
It
with a
is.
story.
That's the only way. That's the only way to sell it.
You also, I was working in the speakeasy in the basement, and you were my manager. I would say partner, because you just like hit every table that came in on my first turn. I literally went to get a bottle of wine, and when I came down, there was like 6 bottles of wine. There was a bottle of wine on every table, and it was like Sancerre, Sauvignon Blanc, or it was a different wine on every table. I was like, when did he even do that?
Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
You like could set me up for success that night.
Well, I think, I mean, that's why I do what I do. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, running a restaurant, driving a restaurant, it's very challenging. It's also a fun game, but a lot of times the the structure behind it is more or less kind of just doing for others and not doing for self. And I've always lived by that motto, and I don't have any regrets with personalities. I don't have any kind of like anger and like animosity towards people. I will always just do what I know I can do in a fashion, and I don't do it for myself. I do it because do it because up here in this brain, I can create all these like, oh my God, wouldn't this be fun? Like create experiences for people, and not just at the dinner, but create experiences for staff members, you know? Um, and man,
Well, too, sometimes people, you're a waiter, right? People in the service industry, if they're a waiter, they understand where they're coming from. Some people might have it's a negative connotation to the word like server. Maybe not in the South, maybe up north more, right? Where was I going with
I don't
that?
know, but I like where you're going. But so we were talking about serving and what I do. I love the idea of dropping bottles and selling multiple courses.
I rem-
And it's just like, it's because it's easy, because in my mind, if I can think it, I can do it. So if I'm like, oh man, and Richard says, and there was Nicole Stutz, let's say Nicole and Richard were splitting the tavern. There was a lot of times I would have like mental goals of like, I want to put down 15 bottles tonight. And it would just be easy. All you had to do is just talk to people.
okay, I remember where I was going. I like your approach to how you ran the restaurant and the people because it was more like a mentorship. Like someone might be in there and they get hired as a waiter. Maybe they don't have experience with confidence, or they're not losing you again.
Yep. I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I think you're gonna drop out, but
No.
that's all right. Yeah, I like how you approach it. Like you approach it like a mentor, right? So you almost give like if someone get like myself, I got hired as a waiter. I didn't have too much life experience, but you kind of instilled this like confidence that, oh, you can go sell 10 bottles of wine. You could do this. You could wait on the president, you know? You could wait on Reese Witherspoon when she comes in. It's not gonna, you're gonna treat her like everyone else. So it's interesting to me.
But
It's gonna be a
Richard,
lot of
I think
editing on
that's
this one.
whether it's restaurant industry or retail, mentorship is important. And and I mean, there's a lot of people, and I've been very blessed to love humanity. I've been able to kind of sense when somebody's not confident about what they're doing, and sometimes they just need like a push, or encouragement or guidance, and somebody did that for me. So it's like, why wouldn't I do that for anybody else? And so that's those years at the Pink House that we shared together. We start naming names. I mean, it's like this crew. It was momentum, and we were all at different stages of our life. And now look, all of you. I mean, you have this podcast. You're a father. You've done all these creativities. I think Nicole's like photographing all over the world. Zach Neme's got like 2 different insurance businesses. Frank, big huge Frank. He's on the West Coast jumping out of airplanes and hunting, and so. But it all started like at 23 Abercorn Street, and you guys were all just passing through because of SCAD or college. And it was a lot of fun. And the Pink House was trying to find out what it was going to become. And what it is now, really, I think that when you guys were there, that was that turning on the light switch. Yeah. And the fact that you would flip a wedding and then
Yeah,
turn it
those
right back into
weddings
a
they
la
would do
carte,
were pretty
it's
wild.
like, that's wild. And I had never seen that before. But you see one, you can be like, all right, we can get better than this. We can get, it could be easy. So now when it comes to restaurant, anything's possible in a dining room.
Yeah, when I got back home and I started waiting tables again, everyone's like, "What the hell? What did you go to
It's so different, right?
college down
And
there for
because
serving?" Because I was just crushing
at
it.
Atlantic, I'll fast forward. At Atlantic, I had staff members become debt free. I had staff members that used that income as to show payment of a home for their first home purchase. I had staff members that got in line with the state when it came to you know, child support, because we created something that wasn't like, oh, we serve great wine and great food. That's a byproduct. The whole idea is like everything moved forward for the right reason. And when you go to work to take care of somebody, whether it's a peanut butter and jelly shop or like a foie gras on like, duck or whatever, it doesn't matter as long as you understand the importance. In front of you is this amazing human who might be unskilled, but they have all the potential, and it's your job to teach them how to be great. And that's why I love the restaurant industry.
I don't remember anyone really being on. I don't remember anyone really being on their phones too much.
Full bars, I'm on good. Is that my connection, your connection?
The universe is telling me to. The universe is
We
telling
should.
us
That's
to
how
get.
you
I should
started,
get
right?
on a plane
In-person
and just get
interviews.
down there and do it in person. Yeah, but now I'm spoiled, and I just go down in my basement and turn the camera on.
Yeah.
And now I could do one a week instead of, one a month. But anyways, what I wanted to ask
Yeah.
was, do cell phones ever get in the way of service now? Because I feel like in 2010, they were just starting to become like, oh, let's take a picture of food. Now it must
It's
be just
just
wild. People recording and
it's really changed post-COVID. I mean, your question was cell phones, but I think it's more or less post-COVID and what restaurants have to do via cell phones. Everything is now on social media. I mean, you can give things away sometimes. There's like a sign that says, "Hey, free this, free that," and if you're not on cell phones, on Instagram and social media, they they're going to the hottest thing. So, I mean, the way that cell phones has infiltrated restaurants is it's just wild. It's wild that has become the rodent, if that makes sense. It's become that one thing that you're just like cringe.
yeah, that was my thought for asking the question. I was like, can people do like can you do that? That you probably can't.
No, you had to be in an empty dining room, right? And now you need people that you need all these like blue checks. You need all these influencers. You don't really need them, but I mean some of them are very wise and sharp, and they know how to make they know how to assist a business, and but it's wild. It's wild and then now as an owner of a small business, everyone will text me for like a seat. So if they see the owner on a cell phone, then it must be okay. So it's just like, gosh, man, it's like full circle.
Yeah, and with the margins are pretty thin in restaurants, right? So whatever moves the needle is what you have to do because you don't want to close and you want to keep it running, right?
Yep. I mean, you have to feed the beast. You have to be on the phone all the time.
Do
It's
you
just wild.
do you ever like take a picture of like inventory with ChatGPT and like have it organize or maybe run some numbers for you to see if there's like ways to improve?
No. No, I would have never thought to do that. Oh my gosh. I'm closed tonight, so I'm almost now tempted to go back into the restaurant and do that with chat. It's wild. I am using chat on Post. I was on vacation with somebody and they were like constantly speaking into their phone. I was like, "What are you doing?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm voice texting." And I was like, "What is that?" Because I mean, I'm old school. Like, if I could, I wish I had a BlackBerry. My old BlackBerry is
Yeah.
great, but the fact that you can do this is almost like it encourages you not to think anymore.
Yeah, there is that too. I mean, you
I
can
ask
use it
chat
too much.
questions, and it gives me everything that. And the more you ask questions about, it's like, oh, I'm talking to you about Sobremesa, or I'm talking to you about my personal. I'm talking about this. It remembers how to feed into it, and it's just like, all right, how do I want to make sure I continue to curate my chat to know exactly, and surely it does. It just spits it right out. So that's wild. I never would have thought to do that, but I'm gonna try it this week.
Yeah, I mean, and even with like Claude, you can connect it to your Google Drive or, your software that runs the numbers for you, and you can just like have it go over everything and see what it thinks.
Wild, absolutely wild.
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy time, and then on the other side of it, like I get nervous that there's an ulterior motive for all the AI, and they probably don't have our best interests. They just want to make profit. So, what are they doing?
Yeah.
What is the real
I mean,
plan?
I think the real plan is they're just understanding who's the free thinkers and who's not. Because I would still say I'm a free thinker, but it's also a staffy weakness. And if I don't have the payroll to have an assistant that thinks with me, then I'll ask AI, and essentially AI thinks for you. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that just going forward that will just rely on AI to think for them.
Yeah, because
So, you know,
shut AI off for 3 weeks. Like I work in a business, so like a corporate setting. Imagine shutting it off for 3 weeks out, you'd be stuck. Or people are going to start integrating it into everything, and then they're just going to skyrocket the price.
yeah. Yep, I do see that. It is a very interesting time. Remind me what you graduated SCAD with.
I
In
didn't.
film?
I failed out.
But you did film. Were you in film?
No, graphic design, I think.
Graphic design.
No
And
Man's
then,
Land.
yeah. And so with graphic design, I mean, did you go up north, wait the tables? I see that you did some filming and interviewing, but what kind of avenue did you fall into?
How it happened exactly is I was back up north and I continued my education because I was like 25, 26 at that point. I kept going to school and waiting tables, the old routine, go to school in the morning, wait tables at night, go out drinking, and then get up and do it again. And then I eventually got my master's degree, and I was so depressed after my last class. It was statistics. I just remember it was a beautiful May sunny day, and I was walking into my car and I was going into my shift, and I was like, oh man, I'm in debt, and this didn't really change my life. Then, I had a passion for creativity, and I was waiting tables one night, and a agency owner, we started talking about that, and he started to like use me for little odd jobs here, a print design, a logo design, a web design. And then I started hanging out at his business more, and then eventually I landed full time there doing sales, and I wanted to transition to marketing, and it wasn't in the cards. So I started freelancing and just taking odd jobs wherever I could. And then COVID hit, and I was unsure of what to do. So my brother-in-law is a master electrician. So I actually started being an apprentice for him, and I was working for him for 2 years doing electrical. But on top of that, I was doing his marketing, his website, and we were just collaborating on video and growing the business. And that's when, COVID kind of toned down, and I was like, I think I'm going to go back to marketing because that's what I love. And that's where I am now.
Wow, that's wild. That is crazy. And so, are you the creator of the company that you work for? Are you a part of a larger team, or is it
I'm a
still our
large team.
mindsets?
Yeah, there's about 130 employees. I'm the only marketing person. It's in manufacturing. Prior to that, I was the same thing. I was in another manufacturing company, and I was the first marketing hire ever. So it was an opportunity to build processes and systems and really implement growth strategies and lead gen strategies. And that's where I'm at now still. And I was the first marketing hire at this company.
Wow, that's my girlfriend does the same thing. So she works for a large company like yours, and she is in marketing. She has her own marketing company, and so she kind of curtails how these people do their job through marketing. So she works for one entity, but she has access to all these different people. And, because of the company's quite large, I mean, some people are like, oh my gosh, this person does my marketing. And they're like, oh, they're within the company. It's just wild that's, and I didn't. I dropped out of engineering school to be a busboy wearing $1,000 suit. So I've only known one way of life, and that's just having a great time in the dining room and and creating experiences that no one will that they'll always have. But I never really thought about how dynamic, because where I'm from, it's like like, all right, I'm gonna do marketing, so I'm gonna go out and do this, I'm gonna go and do their advertisement for this haircut place and their advertisement for that bicycle shop, but Now companies are like, all right, we have to have a marketer in this. We have to have a salary for this. So let's get this on, and this is how we go forward. And it's wild how everything is connected.
Yeah, and then they're like that position is part of revenue and growth. They're just as important as sales because they're aiding the sales to make alignments and strategy and improvements and lead quality and helping the customer through their journey. Kind of, yeah, and it's kind of like the service industry, really.
Yeah, it really is. Now, I think earlier that's the question I got cut off at. But you have a couple little ones?
3 kids, yeah. I have Miles,
Three
he's
kids.
5. Via is 3.5, and then Macy is gonna be 1 in August, so she's like gonna be 1 in August. Yeah.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Did you always want to have multiple kids? Were you like from a large family yourself?
I am, but 2 was good, but the third one, once she came, she's just like a part of the family, no big deal. My whole thing was, and I think all the dads out there can agree with me, I was like, do I really want to be putting 3 kids in 3 car seats? That was really
Yeah.
my only debate, and my wife's like, that's a stupid effing debate over why not to have a third kid. And I was like, yeah, I know.
Kind of does make sense. It's like that Larry David kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I was like, wait, I'm gonna put 3 kids when you're not around. I got to do that 3 times. I'm good
Well,
with
think
2.
about it. I mean, those seats, 2 of them in the back seat, that forces you to always have a vehicle that has like 3 rows.
Yep, that's what we had to do. I took her
Yeah.
old car and we got the 3rd row.
And that third row doesn't get any cheaper. It costs like another 10 grand via Ford and Chevy. That's wild. That's wild.
Your daughter's all grown up, right? Out in
Yeah,
college.
17 years old, a junior in high school, and she's graduating. She did dual enrollment at Armstrong, a local college here in Savannah. She was at Savannah Arts, and so she's going to take a gap year, and then she's going to go try out the Atlanta market, and then do a little traveling, and then grind 2 different jobs. And her goal is to get into Kennesaw State. And so, but yeah.
So goal driven. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I've been explaining to her, it's like, look, I think goals are great. I just really hope you just don't get so upset when you don't hit your mark. Because at the end of the day, setting a goal and moving towards it, you're already winning. There's so many people who don't even know how to set a goal that might be achievable. And so the other thing is set goals that are achievable.
I feel for the younger generation because think about it. If they're at a party and they want to like let their freak fly flag and do a dance, they have to also worry about that someone might film them and post it, and they might fear the judgment of the post. Like that wasn't around when we were growing up, so I feel for the younger generation.
I do too, and it's interesting. Yeah, that definitely was not part of our culture growing up, and it's wild, and it's we fear for them, but they don't live in that fear. I would have to say, for the most part, in a funny way, I feel like my kid is fearless.
You have to be, I guess. You can't have fear now because if you do, they're gonna put it out there and smell it.
It's crazy, but she's a great kid. I mean, she grew up in the restaurant industry. She'll most likely, go through school and through the restaurant industry, as a lot of people do. The restaurant industry has catered to the neighborhoods and society, but at the end of the time, a lot of people paid off their school bills or they went through college because they're waiting tables and bartending.
I wouldn't have been able to go to college if it wasn't for that. It was the right schedule, the right money. I could afford to have an apartment, a car, pay my bills, tuition, everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's not plumbers. There's plumbers at night, but you can't be a student in the daytime and a plumber at night because no one wants like a sink all ripped up and a toilet ripped up, and you can't, very few places have really great teachers at night consistently. So the restaurant industry it's like, you find great colleges, you find great food.
Teach you how to network. You got to learn to network even on LinkedIn. If you're fearful of networking, just go be a waiter for a year. You'll get over it.
Yeah. Have you ever? Am I the first one you've reached out to the past in the Savannah market or in that chapter when you were in Savannah? Have you talked to others?
I have. I have about like 45 people on deck every week. I just reach out to a couple.
Gosh, that is great.
Yeah, the response has been wild. At first, it was a little slow, and then maybe like 4 weeks ago, it's just crazy the yeses I'm getting. And yeah, a lot of them are from the restaurant industry because meeting people, and now they're doing different things. I did my eighth grade religion teacher 2 weeks ago.
Oh, are they still teaching?
No, they left. They left for, a couple different reasons, but I still
Yeah,
had a demerit that he wrote me up, and he was dying that I still had it.
that is funny. Had demerit. I haven't heard that word in so long.
I saved all of mine somehow for some reason because they were comical. Like, they're pretty good. I'll send you some.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Well, how and with the kids, you guys go on vacations, or would you guys ever get up and head to the south? I know that it's tough sometimes to
Yeah, I think we
go.
would. I think we
Yeah,
would.
if you ever head this way, just give me a holler. Even
Oh,
if
for
it's like,
sure.
hey, we're stopping in so and so if I can, because I really enjoyed our time. That was a very fun and important time in my life, and because we did things when you were on the floor, things were done that I was just beginning to have confidence in doing. And I swear, like almost everything that we did, it was like a home run or 10 for 10 every time. And so it was like monumental, like momentum to become what I am today. And so that time was a very important time. So I'd love to catch up like face to face.
Yeah,
This has been great.
yeah. I even remember there was always like a battle between leadership there and you, and like who to hire. And I remember I wasn't the cream of the crop. They were like, there was people saying, I don't really think we should have him working here. And you were like, supported the decision. And I think it worked out.
Yeah, I think it definitely worked out. And I think that's, when you're in a big business like that, a lot of people don't realize that revolving door of employment. It two things. It slows down synergy, and it puts a lot of wear and tear on your cost. Because the last thing is like managers get tired of hiring, and then in their attitude, it affects on how they train people, things of that nature. But when you keep a lot of people together, whether you feel like they're in place or not, but you choose to keep them together, synergy is the outcome, and then you just have to be accountable with your actions and your leadership towards the one that you say, all right, this one needs a little bit more time, and instead of one person do it, we're going to take a village to help this thing, turn. So to me, it was always, I think there was a particular person who just was very accustomed to like, let's just fire, let's just fire, let's just fire. And it's easy to do that. It's so easy to do that. But it's so harmful in the end. And not because you took someone's job away, but because you just stop the momentum of what could be.
Mm.
Chasing the great and being able to set the greatest experience with the purest of people's energies and emotions and like their purpose of serving. I mean, ultimately, that's the goal: is to create that thing, that memory that no one else can, for that person that no one else can mimic, because you kept everyone involved with the host, the bartender, the food runner. Everyone's important. Everyone's important.
Yeah. And I'm not easy to manage either. I'm a smartass. I can get defiant at times, but I got I can back it up with some of the big numbers. So
You
there's,
did. You showed up. I totally remember. I totally remember the numbers that you had put in. Zach Name was as one. I mean, you were mild. You were mild compared to some of the ones that tried to rule the roost. And so, there was ones who were like, they were like, no, I've been here the longest, so I should do this. And it's just like, oh my gosh, you would be the one I want to let go. So, no, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it because, I was also, I think that was 2011 through 2015.
10 to 11.
10?
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 to 11, right in there. I mean, it wasn't long ago, but it wasn't long ago. I mean, if you think about where we were, how old we were, what we were going through life, even though I'd been in Savannah for 5 years, I still was trying to figure things out. And being around youthful people who were going to school that was all creativity based, I was never exposed to that at a younger age or in my college years. And so being next to you guys in the hallways of that great venue was just as important, for me than it was for you guys to be there.
You probably don't know this, but my roommate helped started Nine Line.
Oh, I did not know that. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, he was just looking to work with local people, and I don't know how he linked up with them, but he was going to their garage a couple times a week, and he actually designed the logo too.
That's wild.
So he's been with them ever since.
Yeah, I mean, that's still a big relevant company here in town.
Yeah, and just like
That's wild.
he was just playing Minecraft all night, and then all of a sudden now he's running Nine Line or helping.
Jeez. Gosh, I play solitaire and I play those old man games.
I like chess lately. Chess, I found a passion for chess that I used to play when I was younger, and now I play online all the time.
Do you?
Well, I mean, when I have a free moment, I got 3 kids under 5, a podcast, a full-time job.
You should teach the kids how to play chess, and
they know all the pieces and they know how to set the board up. They can't really grasp the moves yet, but they know how to play checkers.
Yeah, I will say this, and as you've been a father for 5 years to now 3, and one thing I can share is that the excitement of what it is to include them in the things that you like to do, that is culture based as well as like worldly based, and there's like art to it, and then feed that is. I think that's one of the responsibilities of parents that sometimes we forget because there's so many things. We got to go to this appointment. We got to run them this way. We forget about the real importance and how to be a great parent. And it's that time. I know it's they're setting up your chessboard, and they're naming all the names. I remember the time that I taught Vivian how to properly open a bottle of wine and the measurements of a Negroni. And it wasn't really just because it was alcohol based, but it was like, all right, so there's an art, and then there's a recipe. And if you don't get the recipe right, the flavor won't taste right. And if you don't get the art right, then it won't, pay off in the end. But it's like the things that really matter and the things that you're excited about. And if you can pass that on to your kids, and then now my daughter at the age of 17, she knows how a restaurant culturally should be ran, and she can sense it when it's not run the right way from a culture point of view, a lack of leadership, or why is there someone being miserable at the very top of the chain, things of that nature. Because all those years, that we would share the importance of why we do things, when we treat people the way. So the more that you build into your children, and in the small things like chess. But chess is a game of structure. It's a game of thought. It's a game of one-on-one. It's a game of confidence. And so when you can have the ability to teach that to your children, they essentially they're separated from the flock in a very positive way. So I would encourage that.
I love that.
She's about to leave the roost. I mean, she is completely independent, and there's some of me that I'm really sad, but then again, it's like,
no, you got to be proud of that.
I'm so proud. At first, it's like, oh, I'm not always there. We're not always around. And it's like the fact that she is like just doing. She is doing and moving the best she can at the age of 17 through life instead of life moving her. So, and I think that is compounded over so many years of just kind of just being real with her. So it's tough to be real with your kids, but I would encourage just always be real with them.
I'll do my best. Every day's a new day. The worst is when you do lose it and you get that guilty pit when they're in bed sleeping peacefully and you're like, man, I could have had more patience. But then you just improve on the next day. And now I finally have learned patience.
Yeah.
It took 2, the first kid, the second kid, the third kid. Now I'm like, oh, I got this. I got patience now. I'm thinking like a kid. I'm like, I think I'm going to let him play in the dirt today.
Yeah.
What's the harm?
Subconsciously, that's probably what you need to do as well. There's times I was so like, oh, I got to micromanage and control everything. But in this season, I'm really learning to just let things go. And the more I let things go, the easier the flow of my day. I still face those big challenges, but they're now they're easy to go head on, and I don't feel like I have to run away from them. I don't feel like I'm going to get beat up on. It's like, no, I'm going to let things go. And I wasn't always like that because I was scared of, like, I have to protect this, I have to protect that. It's like, humans are going to do what humans are going to do. So I stopped being I wasn't really judgmental. I would always measure, but I stopped worrying about all the things I can't control. And having a 17-year-old kid getting ready to go into the world and not being able to, I was like, it's actually doing well. It's helping me. It's helping me be like, nope, she's got it. I'm here. I don't have to do things for her. She's got it. Jason, just let it go. Just let it go.
Well, and then when she truly is away for a little, I'll see you in a convertible with the Guy Fieri spiked blonde hair, couple new tattoos, and I'm going to do the same thing. So,
yeah. I love
it. Midlife crisis time for, not for you, for me,
Yeah. I'm still waiting to hit my midlife. Midlife, like 72. I think I'm going to live to 140. I joked around with someone today about living to 900, but I don't know if I want to see this world in 900 years from now.
Ooh, I like that. I just want to see, because we're going to the moon. The James Webb is getting all these crazy images. It's really scary thinking of, like, what's beyond and what is even all this. So I can get down a rabbit hole like that.
Yeah, I thought by now we'd be able to see the things that we saw on Total Recall on Mars, but it's still 2026 and we haven't seen that yet. So
yeah, and then you think the moon is close and we're barely getting there, and we're going to go to the Mars, but isn't Mars has such a harsh climate? Is it even feasible? And it takes so long to get there and back. Like, what's the point? But I guess the point is to adventure and to go. Yeah, do I have you for 10 more minutes?
You sure do.
I got to ask.
Okay.
For the viral moment here, who are the most famous people that you've got to serve in Georgia? Bill Murray, I know he came in, and Reese Witherspoon came in one year.
Yeah.
Oh, Beyonce. No?
No, I never came across her, but Patricia Arquette was filming a movie on Tybee, and she probably came to during the whole filming. She was probably Atlantic, maybe about 12 times.
Oh, nice.
She really loved. And every time she came there, one time, her first time with a friend, and every time she came back with more and more and more. And we had kind of like a pseudo, like, closing of the movie, kind of like party at the restaurant. So that was pretty, I think that's my most, like, when we say famous, like, celebrity. But I mean, who knows? I mean, there could have been somebody that owned like 4 satellites in my restaurant one day if I didn't know it. So yeah. I'm going to say that one.
Cool. Well, the Pink House is a historic building. Everyone, like, goes in and out of there, even famous people. So I'm sure they were in there, because I remember Bill Murray was there.
Yeah, he was definitely a character. He owns a couple restaurants in Charleston now, and a minor league baseball team.
Cool. Well, it was awesome catching up, man.
Yeah, it really was. Thank you for considering me, and thank you for reaching out. And I hope if you and your family travel this way, it would be great to catch up and have a coffee and let the kids run around, and we'll find a place for them to just have a ball.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. You'd be the first person I call. I don't know who else I'd call.
And then now I'm going to follow you, so I'm curious to see who others from 20 years ago, Savannah, shows up on your podcast. So I'm excited, and it's pretty cool that you're doing this.
Yeah,
are important going forward.
I haven't reached out to Nicole yet, so I gotta reach out to her. She's got a lot of interesting things going on. She lived on an island and met her husband on St. John, I think, on a boat, right?
Yeah, I think that's the story. Yes, and I think she might have a couple kids, and yeah, so there's a lot out there.
Jesse Smith, I think his last name is. He wants to do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he's an engineer now, or a software developer.
So this is a great idea. I ran this. I told someone I was doing this today, and I kind of gave them the premise of what you're doing. And they're like, "Wow, that's totally didn't think about that." But they're like, and they started thinking about who was in my life 20 years ago And what are it's exactly what happened. Who was in my life 20 years ago, and I wonder what they're doing. That's what somebody said when I told them I was doing this tonight. So
Awesome.
I think the idea that you're having is a cool one. So no, thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. I'm loving catching up with people, and I've even like we've got some like back and forth text threads going. So it's been fun.
Did you work with Michael Hewitt at all?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I think he's down in Tampa.
Like owning some crazy company, or is he trying to take over the world, or?
I don't know. I know that he was working. He was like a high up at a BMW place for a long time, and so and that's the last thing I heard about him. And Megan Littlefield. Do you remember Megan? She
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So Megan's husband is like the right hand man of Paula Wallace of SCAD when it comes to like like web design and or just like structure of computers. He was in and out of Japan a lot when SCAD was over there, and she's a real estate agent, and she's done extremely well for herself, and she's still just wacky and wonderful and easy to chat with. So she would be one that you should reach out to her.
Yeah,
in fact, what I'll do is when I get off the phone, I'll send you her contact.
Yeah, please do. And I see her on Facebook, I believe, and I see that she's a real estate agent.
Yeah. And she's there, her parents are, in and out of Maine all the time. She's like just a hardcore Southerner now.
Yeah, I didn't realize she was from Maine.
So, and I need to get to that part of the world as well. I've never been up that way. So if I ever get that direction, I'll let you know as well.
Please do. Could come crash here. We got some good land, and we're on the outskirts of the city.
Oh, good. Yeah, land's good. I'm looking at land right now. Get some peace and quiet.
I mean, that's all. When I was in kindergarten, I this is my last thing. I drew a picture and I called it my first house. So even at kindergarten, because I grew up in a 3-decker, I just looked at like owning a house as like the goal for some reason, because I wanted like a big backyard.
The American dream. The
Yeah.
dream of all, actually.
Now I like live vicariously through my kids. Like, oh, let's build a clubhouse. Let's do this. I'm like outside playing as much as they are.
It's good for your soul, Richard. That's good
for sure.
It's good. Well, thank you for reaching out. I appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Have a great week, and let's keep in touch.
Yes, let's do that. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, and have a great night.
All right, you too. Bye.
Okay, bye.